Have you ever noticed all of the church steeples rising upward in the Soulard area? Are you curious why there are so many of them? In the next half hour, DHTV, in conjunction with the Churches of Soulard Foundation, will examine the origin of the numerous churches and give you a glimpse of historic Soulard. In the late 1700s, England took the lands east of the Mississippi River from the French. Many of the French loyalists opted to cross the Mississippi River and settle in the area then claimed by the Spanish. An area known as Frenchtown began to prosper in what is now the north end of Soulard. The French were highly regarded for their orchards, and Frenchtown became an agricultural crossroads, serving Cahokia to the east and Carondelet to the south. The French immigrants were initially followed by Germans. Czechs, Slavics, Lebanese, and Croatians arrived at later dates. As each group prospered, they struggled to preserve their heritage and language. One way to achieve this was to honor their God by building fabulous edifices, their spires reaching to the heavens, filled with the best altars, statues, and windows that money could buy. The Soulard area became a true melting pot as the Lutheran, Evangelical, Eastern Rite, Presbyterian, Protestant, and Greek Orthodox churches rose up, taking their places alongside the earlier Catholic churches. By the mid-20th century, prosperity, automobiles, and urban renewal had hit the area hard, but pride in the area prevailed. With the dawn of the 21st century, urban colonists had rediscovered their roots and are returning to Soulard. Today, the churches that remain are being preserved and served as testimonies to the immigrants that blazed the trail for all of us. St. Mary of Victories, located at 3rd and Gratiot, is the first on our tour. It has been in existence since 1843 and is the second oldest Catholic church in St. Louis. The oldest is the Basilica of St. Louis, King of France, affectionately known as the Old Cathedral. St. Mary of Victories is on the National Register of Historic Places and is simply beautiful. From the graceful arches to the magnificent organ, the sanctuary is a testimony to the restoration effort. This parish was St. Louis's first national parish. National parishes served as an ethnic rather than a geographical district. These ethnic sanctuaries were vital components in the assimilation process. By the 1840s, the surrounding area was settled by German immigrants who were ecstatic to have their own church staffed by German priests. The church survived many calamities: the tornado of 1896, industrial encroachment, the movement of prosperous Germans to the south and west, loss of housing stock to the north due to the construction of the arch, and even the construction of a highway overpass at its front door. In 1952, the church was transferred to the St. Stephen of Hungary congregation, whose church had been torn down. All of the active churches have found ways to serve their communities. We were able to attend and document some of those events. Today, St. Mary of Victories is known for her Sunday dinners, which are open to the public, and the annual Fall Festival. The cornerstone for St. Vincent de Paul at 9th and Park was laid in 1844. The church was consecrated in 1845. This red brick, Romanesque-style building has an Italian Renaissance tower and was designed by Meriwether Lewis Clark, son of William Clark. It cost $30,000 to erect and contains over 550,000 bricks. By 1845, the city of St. Louis had been divided into 4 parish divisions. St. Vincent de Paul was designated as the Southside Parish, Our Lady of Victories remaining a German national parish. St. Vincent de Paul was also damaged by the tornado of 1896 and fought a losing battle with societal changes. By the 1970s, the church was on the brink of extinction. It was resurrected when it began to serve the needy and the poor of the area. St. Vincent de Paul works with numerous social, neighborhood, and archdiocese organizations to provide a dizzying array of ministerial services. One of the biggest is the annual Christmas Basket program. This past season, $3,500 worth of food was unloaded, repackaged, and distributed to 710 families and 439 seniors. On this tour, we will see paintings and statues that can only be described as works of art. The Stations of the Cross displayed in this church are truly one of a kind. They were made in Europe in the latter part of the 19th century. Only 2 sets were made before the molds were scrapped. The location of the twin set has been lost in time. Today, its Corinthian towers, sculptured statuary, and marble altar, which replaced the original wooden one in 1884, have been restored to their original beauty and stand defiant before the interstate, serving as an anchor to a revived neighborhood. The existing Catholic churches were quickly overwhelmed when the German immigration rate greatly exceeded all predictions. The Saints Peter and Paul Parish was founded in 1849 to serve the newly arrived immigrants. By 1875, the Norman Gothic structure that still towers over Soulard today was erected at 8th and Allen. The interior is simply immense. Exquisite stained glass windows reach to the heavens, protected by an ornate ceiling. Finely detailed side altars filled with intricate statues stand in homage before the stately main altar. The Stations of the Cross are German oil paintings in which the blessed participants are denoted with gold halos. Of the 3 sets created, only this group was imported to America. Saints Peter and Paul suffered the same setbacks as its brethren and met the challenge of change by redesigning itself. In the mid-1980s, the church was revamped. Where there was once seating for 1,700, there is now a smaller, more intimate, in the round sanctuary for 400. A marble baptismal pool and font is the focal point of the newly created fellowship area. The congregation embraced contemporary Christian music, filling a void which draws participants from all over the metro region. There are now outreach programs, a homeless shelter, and humanitarian services for the poor and needy. And their annual fall festival, which raises funds for those programs, entertains kids of all ages. Trinity, dedicated in 1896, is considered the mother church of the Missouri Synod Lutheran congregations. Located at 8th and Soulard, it reminds us that not all of the German immigrants were Catholic. As with many of the other churches, this congregation formed prior to the construction date of their building. Lutheran Germans began settling in the area in the late 1830s and had formed their congregation by 1839. The Trinity Lutheran Sanctuary we see today was preceded by 2 others. One was built in 1842 at 3rd and Lombardo, and another built in 1864 on the current site. The 1864 structure, which was built during the Civil War, was destroyed by the tornado of 1896. Only the baptismal font and the European-style pulpit were salvaged from the church after the devastating storm. The interior of the current structure is almost overwhelming. A statue of Christ with his arms open in welcome stands surrounded by a hand-carved wooden altar. Below is an ornate, 3-dimensional sculpture of the Last Supper. Soaring spires are protected by ornate columns beside breathtaking windows. The pews radiate out in a semicircle with unobstructed views of the softly lit sanctuary. This contributes to the feeling that the building is bigger on the inside than on the outside. And wow, what an organ! Its 1,679 pipes range in length from less than 1 inch to 16 feet. The beauty of this church is not limited to the inside. The exterior has a remarkable architectural line and is an excellent example of an American Gothic structure. Trinity Lutheran is the oldest Lutheran congregation, operating the oldest continuing elementary school west of the Mississippi. About the same time, the Bohemian Catholics established St. John Nepomuc and dealt with similar growth issues and setbacks. Immigrants escaping political upheaval in Bohemia began arriving in St. Louis in 1848. The structure we see today at 11th and Lafayette was erected in 1870 and is similar in design to Saints Peter and Paul and St. Vincent de Paul. The parish grew to include the first Czech school in St. Louis, a library, parish hall, and Bohemian press. As with other congregations and denominations, the tornado of 1896 devastated St. John Nepomuc. The parishioners, many of whom lost everything, rallied around their church and rebuilt it by late 1897. This church has a phenomenal number of statues. They stand guard on each column, complement the main and side altars, and appear almost doll-like in design. A massive organ stands ready in the balcony, and finely detailed stained glass windows stand in testimony to the Catholic faith. St. Paul's Evangelical Church, located at 1808 South 9th, has had a very familiar history. It has survived and now houses Patty Long's 9th Street Abbey. The original structure was erected on site around 1850. It was smaller than today's structure and had its steeple on the 9th Street side. Changes were forced on the congregation by, yes, you guessed correctly, the twister of '96. The only thing left standing after the tornado was the southeast corner of the sanctuary, with a Bible still in place. The thrifty Germans rebuilt the church, incorporating the remaining southeast corner, and dedicated the new sanctuary in 1897. The migration of parishioners to the southwest suburbs of the city forced the doors of St. Paul to close in 1911. The church was reborn in 1924 as the Holy Trinity Slavic Catholic Church, serving the area's burgeoning Slavic population. The church remained viable for the next 60 years until urban sprawl forced the diocese to close the doors permanently. Stripped of its furnishings, even its bells, the desanctified structure sat vacant and deteriorating until 1990. It was then reborn a second time as the combination gym banquet hall. Patty Long acquired the building in 1992 and has created a restaurant known for its unique dining and banquet facilities. And if the size of the lunch crowd is any indication of the dining experience, reservations are recommended. The food looked scrumptious, and the kitchen was bright, bustling, and bountiful. Renovations stripped the former church of most of its religious trappings, but beautiful windows remain, bathing diners in colorful light, reminding them of past congregations. St. Raymond's Maronite Church, located at 9th and Lebanon, is the newest structure on the tour. It serves the Lebanese community, which began arriving in the 1850s. These celebrate members of the Maronite Rite, which evolved from the Eastern tradition of the Catholic Church. The first Maronite church, St. Anthony's, located at 4th and Choteau, was torn down in 1940 to make way for a housing project. Eastern Rite celebrants then began to rely upon St. Raymond's Ladies' Society and the Men's Aid Society, which were located in a building on LaSalle Street, purchased in 1913. By the 1960s, the area had begun to wither. The Ralston Purina Corporation became a leading force in renovation efforts, which ultimately brought the area back. During that time, church officials approved the purchase of a city block. Fund drives were begun, and in 1975, St. Raymond's Maronite Church was dedicated. A rectory followed in 1976. In 1979, the Parish Center, Cedars of Lebanon, opened its doors, becoming a neighborhood anchor. We have seen fantastic stained glass windows on this journey. St. Raymond's utilizes the beauty of glass in a unique way. Its walls are glass. Light streams in, highlighting the Eastern accent of the religious artifacts. The spirituality of the congregation is complemented by the celebrants' zest for life. Their annual fall festival celebrates the heritage first brought to this area during the 19th century. In 1865, a group of Hollanders and Dutch erected the first German Presbyterian at 10th and Rutger. It now houses one of the newer congregations in Soulard, the Quakers or Society of Friends. As we've said with the other churches, the original congregation grew, prospered, and moved on to suburban settings. By the 1970s, the sanctuary had become an abandoned derelict. Eventually, the structure was obtained by the Land Clearance Authority and became part of Ralston Purina's LaSalle Park redevelopment. During the redevelopment, the former church was transformed into a photography studio. The final pivotal change occurred in 1997 when the building was purchased by the Quakers. The interior of the church radiates warmth and harkens back to a calmer time. Like Saints Peter and Paul, the congregation meets in the round with hand-woven quilts, pillows, and rugs, comforting the celebrants. The windows spill soft natural light, and the original bell holds an honored position within the structure, a silent reminder of the earlier congregation. The Society of Friends have maintained the elegant simplicity of the old German Presbyterian sanctuary and have brought an old building back to its original beginning as a church. St. Agatha Catholic Church at 9th and Utah was created to serve a new wave of German immigrants that arrived in St. Louis after the Civil War. Some 200 families of the new arrivals proved how much they wanted a new church by each pledging $5,000, which was an immense amount of money for the 1860s. By 1871, the cornerstone for St. Agatha was laid. The parish prospered and grew, adding a convent, rectory, and new school building in 1909. In 1921, tragedy struck on New Year's Eve, this time in the form of a severe fire. The church was destroyed. Within a year, St. Agatha was rebuilt and back to serving the community. While it is similar in design to other churches we have seen, it has distinctive attributes that are all its own. There is amazing beauty and elegant detail in all the areas of the sanctuary, from the support columns to the stained glass windows and to the wooden side altars. The statues are some of the most lifelike that you will encounter. The organ is magnificent. The Stations of the Cross are vibrant paintings that invite you to pause and meditate. Even the numeric indicators are elegantly sculptured. The strength and desire required to rebuild has imbued the congregation with the ability to adjust to changes brought about by urban sprawl and highway construction. The school has become St. Elizabeth's Daycare Center, nuns still reside in the convent, and St. Agatha offers the only Latin Trinity Mass available in the Archdiocese. Frieden's Church, which still dominates the corner of Gravois and Allen, was built in 1881. It is now the home of the Harvest Church of God. But if walls could speak, they would tell the tale of two earlier congregations. The sanctuary was originally commissioned by the Frieden Gemeine congregation, which emphasized the German traditions of friendship, freedom, and peace. In 1914, the Friedengemeinde sold their holdings and the building became St. Lucas Lutheran Slavic Church. The church was sold once again in 1958 to the current celebrants. The Harvest Church of God, organized in 1942, served the then newest immigrants, white, rural Protestants, who had come to St. Louis seeking work in the defense and clothing industries. The church has an active ministry, providing hot meals for the hungry, a food and clothing pantry for the needy, and drug prevention programs for children. The interior is being renovated and is a testimony to the commitment that the Harvest Church of God extends to the community. When the Friedengemeinde congregation sold their buildings in 1914, they joined a uniquely named congregation, Jesus Evangelical Church. This church, located at 12th and Victor, was organized in 1894 and the sanctuary erected in 1896. The reddish-brown brick building has a distinctive flat-top bell tower. Upon entering the sanctuary, you get the feeling that time has stood still. Quaint surroundings and polished woodwork take you back to the 19th century. From the pulpit, one can imagine the thundering oratory delivered to past celebrants. The massive organ hides a large blue rose window. An abundance of side windows floods the interior with a rainbow of color. Jesus Evangelical Church has remained an anchor in Soulard, riding the ups and downs of the neighborhood, serving the community, especially the children. The Tabernacle Baptist congregation now worships in this historic sanctuary. The founding members of the Menard Street Mission, located at Menard and Julia, began meeting in 1875 to promote the Presbyterian concept of mission schools. Their intent was to bring the entire east side of the city to Christ. The structure we see today was completed in 1897. The mission was so successful, especially with their youth ministry, that in 1901 it became an officially recognized Presbyterian church. The congregation rode the same cycle of boom and bust and merged with another church in 1958, leaving the site abandoned. The building eventually became part of the LaSalle Park redevelopment project and was saved. The building has been completely restored and transformed into the Avid Design Studio. It is an excellent example of adaptive reuse to preserve a historic building. The St. Joseph Croatian Church, located at 2112 South 12th, has been keeping its parishioners in touch with their Croatian origins and Roman Catholic traditions for almost 100 years. Croatians arrived in St. Louis as early as the 1860s. However, most of these arrivals were males who made money and returned to their homeland. By 1900, the influx contained families who settled in St. Louis. In 1902, a commission was created to form a church which would keep their customs and religious values strong. In 1904, the commission made a down payment on a synagogue at 11th and Choteau. Growth required a relocation to the present site in 1925. The former monastery of the Ursuline Sisters contains ornate stations of the cross that have delightful mosaic backgrounds, breathtaking stained glass windows, and a unique barrel-type ceiling. The parish managed to survive and overcome the multiple threats to the neighborhood. It has even taken on international causes, becoming the headquarters for humanitarian relief efforts occurring in Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina. Many refugees from the conflicts there have been aided in their efforts to resettle in St. Louis by the congregation. Their heritage is validated every Sunday when a Mass is said in the Croatian language. The final church on the tour is St. Michael the Archangel Orthodox Church at Ann and Gravois. It was established in 1906 by the celebrants of the Holy Orthodox Catholic Apostolic Eastern Church, which separated from the Roman Catholics in 330 A.D. Westerners know this religion as the Byzantine or Greek Orthodox Church. As with the faithful before them, these immigrants from Austria, Hungary, and Russia hungered for their own language and customs. The present structure was dedicated in 1929. St. Michael the Archangel has unique stained glass windows and an interesting floor plan. The windows have muted swirls of unstructured color, which give the interior a soft glow. The structure is designed in the shape of a cruciform or Greek cross, where the extensions of the cross are of equal length. The depth of each wing of the building is equal to the depth of the sanctuary. This church definitely looks bigger inside than out. What a historic journey! Special thanks to the Churches of Soulard Foundation for their help in getting us access to these venerable institutions and allowing us to adapt their tour guidebook. Thank you for viewing. We hope that you have enjoyed this program. DHTV will continue to produce programming of local interest in cooperation with area groups. We applaud the Churches of Soulard Foundation, a Missouri not-for-profit entity, on their efforts to foster and preserve the historic churches of Frenchtown. Soulard is much more than a marketplace or party spot. We plan to keep watch as Soulard continues to evolve.